Hello, crypto world. Welcome to the Chart Historian. My name is Justin, and on this channel, I delve deep into crypto charts, exploring chart structures, fractals, and patterns. So in this video, we're going to talk about Casper. We're going to talk about what it's currently doing and where I believe it's going and what you should be prepared for. So let's make this chart come to life with some boxes and some fractals. Bam, there we go. So for those of you who follow this channel, you are likely familiar with what is going on here. For those of you who are new, this is the first bull run structure of the greater Casper bull run. Yes, Casper is in its bull run. Let me just explain what this is real quick. So in this structure, there is three waves. There is wave 1, which basically moves up. There is wave 2, which moves up, then kind of pulls back. And then there is wave 3, which moves up to a peak and then pulls back. Now, this pink fractal and this blue fractal is taken from, so it comes from over here. Now, where is over here? Well, this is pre kind of big trading on Casper. You're not going to find this on TradingView. I am using charts.cointrader.pro. This allows me to go further back in time than TradingView allows me to. It also allows me to go back on a very small time frame. I'm on an hour candle right here. So the reason why I go to this part of the chart is because this part of the chart is what Casper, today's Casper, is repeating. So this is a repetitive structure. So just to briefly touch on this structure, Casper begins with a move up, which is its first bull run. It then has a decline. It then has a sideways range-bound time. It then repeats the process all over again. It moves back up in the second bull run. It then has a decline, and then it goes into another sideways range-bound time. It then does it again. It moves up in the third bull run, and it again declines and repeats this whole process all over again. Each of these boxes represents a fractal. So Casper has, since this decline, now TradingView starts with the decline right here. It has gone through all of these different parts of the structure. So we are now in this little box right here, or if you will, this part right here. This is the first part of the bull run structure. Let's jump back to where we are today. So this pink fractal comes from over here, and this blue fractal comes from over here. Let's zoom in onto this structure because it is this structure that today's Casper, today's first bull run structure, resembles the closest. Okay, so here we are zoomed in on a very small candle. This is on a 5-minute candle. This is as zoomed in as I can get. It starts with the first wave, which we see right here, then goes into the second wave, which we see over here, and then it goes into the third wave, and that third wave comes crashing all the way down into wave 1 zone, and then it goes flat. And we see that here, so wave 3 comes up and then crashes all the way down into wave 1 zone and then goes flat. This blue fractal took place over here. So here is wave 1, here is wave 2, and then here is wave 3. The main difference between this structure and this one over here is that this one on the third wave held its ground. It did not come crashing down into wave 1 zone. So now that you have an understanding of where I'm pulling this from and what this structure is, we have since moved out of this structure and we are currently right here. Now, what is going on here? So essentially, Casper begins to move up into the next corrective structure. Now, I am going to focus on this green box here because if we go over here, it is so undefined because it happened on such a small time frame. We can't really delve into it too much. But suffice it to say is that eventually it moves up into the next corrective structure right here. There is this correction that takes place before going into that corrective structure. On this structure, okay, so here we are zoomed in. This is the end of wave 3. So Casper works its way up to a shelf. So here we are on today's chart, and this blue fractal right here, we have that move up that takes place from the flat part at the bottom of wave 3. It kind of moves its way up through a series of waves, and then it comes to this shelf. Now, shelf is not a really good understanding of this, I would call this a zone. So price, through a series of waves, moves up into this zone, which is this right here. Now, through a series of waves, it has left this zone right here and has moved up higher, and it is establishing this next zone, which would be right here. So I believe this little part right here is this little part right here. It then moved up into this zone right here. Now notice how it's dropped back down to the upper part of this zone. I would continue to expect behavior like that as this continues to climb. Another thing we don't know is we don't know how long this zone will last. I had to stretch this fractal part right here to match this timing of today's chart. Now, why am I having to do that? Well, when a fractal repeats the timing, the height, and the depth, those parts will always be unique. Those will be original to each iteration of that structure. So the main idea repeats, but the timing, the height, and the depth, all that will be original. So this time around, it's taking much longer to play out, and so we have much more clarity because it's taking longer to play out, but it also means we have to adjust the fractal to today's timing, height, and depth. All that to say is we are now in this zone. As this moves up, and I don't know how high this will go, this is just me guessing, we are going to eventually end this zone and begin to move up into the next zone. If we jump over here, this has potential to be a fairly nice move up. Now the timing, height, and depth, it's going to be unique this time around. Then we will move into this zone. So be prepared for this slog to continue, especially throughout this part right here. This is Slogville, folks. Eventually, it moves up more aggressively, but then you have the aggressive pullbacks when these parts of the chart begin to move up more aggressively. So here, once we get into the next corrective structure, price moves up fast, but it takes back a huge part of it. Now, eventually, it'll make it out of this corrective fractal right here and move up aggressively into the next one. As we go further into Casper's bull run, we get more and more upward movement. You can see that here it starts off with very little upward movement, much more sideways movement, and then as it progresses, we get more of that vertical movement everyone thinks about when the bull run happens. Now, I just want to reiterate again, as it gets more vertical movement, it also gets larger, substantial pullbacks. That is par of the course, folks. So if you're going to ride the Casper bull run, be prepared for these. They will happen. They will be intense. Some of you are going to freak out when that happens. Well, I hope you found this video helpful. So just be prepared. We are in a zone right now. We will move up into the next zone. And in these zones, you got to give Casper room to breathe, to move up and to move down. It may seem scary, but know this, in the big picture, we're headed up. This bull run is still in its beginning stages. There's going to be exciting days ahead. Not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. If you did enjoy this video, it'd be much appreciated if you hit that thumbs up button. And if you're not a subscriber and you like this type of technical analysis, I recommend hitting that subscribe button. I'm going to be continuing to follow this chart as it continues to develop. Also, for those of you who are interested, I have a Patreon page that is patreon.com/thecharthistorian. I'll put a link in the description of this video. In there, I have a series of videos where I deep dive into the bull run structure. I release my videos early there. I also have a Discord connected to that Patreon page where we discuss Casper, and I'm active on there. There's also others that contribute. So it's a good place to stay connected to what I think Casper is doing and what others in that community also think Casper is doing. It's a $5 a month subscription, so if it's something you're interested in doing, you're welcome to join us. I'm so glad you caught this video. I hope you catch my next one. Have a great day, and bye for now.